In the interview, out of the 26 players that we signed on Wednesday, we had really great grades, as I just mentioned, on all those positions. Saban, excuse me, Saban mentioned Joseph Bulovas, the kicker, who I just mentioned, was absent from the letter of intent roles. And so basically what's going to happen with that is he's going to go what they call a blue shirt. So basically he's not going to roll until next August, or this coming August, so he adds to next year's class and not this year's class, because it was a big numbers crunch because we had so many coming in. So it kind of turned out to a numbers crunch, but it doesn't matter because they shuffled numbers, and he'll be fine. Some pretty funny notes. I put up a story on ALA.com about Julio Jones, and I didn't even know this. Like, I thought he was a Bama commit all the way. I had a really good feeling about him back then, 9 years ago. But according to this article, he woke up on recruiting day or national signing day, and he had no clue where he was going. He was shuffling the 5 envelopes around between Alabama, Florida, Florida State, Oklahoma, and Texas Tech, and really didn't know where he was going. And it was funny because he just woke up and he's kind of sitting there thinking, and he's like, man, he said, all of a sudden I thought, why don't I just stay in Alabama? You know, I mean, my mom or whoever's going to have to get on a plane to come see me, nobody that has supported me all these years at Foley High School will be able to see me. So he decides last minute, okay, I'm going to stay in Alabama. But the funny thing was, he said, I was going to go to Auburn, but I just didn't like Auburn. They left a bad taste in my mouth, which I think is kind of funny. So he was like, no, I'm just going to stay with Bama. So he went to Alabama and was absolutely amazing, as we know. And really at that time, we didn't have another home run threat at receiver besides him. And he was always double covered but put up great numbers. And it was really great because he dominated. And it was always in double coverage at that time. And so that was really cool. Another guy that I talked about earlier that came to Alabama, Robinson, he, I think, is a really underrated running back for us in this class. 4-star. I don't think he got a lot of accolades that the other guys, especially Harris, because Harris was so highly touted, got. And it was really cool because he's not afraid of competition. You know, he's got quotes in here that he knows that he's one of the sleepers in the class. He knows it. He says a lot of people already count him out, but he's not afraid of hard work. And he said he'd rather be an underdog because he feels that Harris is coming in and he's already expected to do great things, and if not, he's a bust. Where he's under the radar, so he's just going to just work hard and grind and just keep working. And you know, a lot of players, a lot of coaches in the country and other teams were after him, like Auburn, Georgia, and Ole Miss. So Alabama was his goal school. That's where he wanted to go. He never wavered in his commitment, and I say great on him. He was a man of his word. But the great thing is I keep reading these quotes about him, and he just ain't afraid to compete. Like he has this quiet confidence, this air about him, and he's going to compete regardless. And he likes it because he feels like the spotlight's not on him, it's on Harris and some of these other cats, and Bo Scarborough, because he knows he's just got to work hard and he's going to get his time. And you know, his senior numbers are great. I mean, he had 990 yards on 161 carries, which he averaged 6.1 yards a carry, and he caught 24 passes for 204 yards. That's great numbers. And he played, I think, 6A classification. Now, he will be competing with time, so I don't think he'll start this year. I think he'll redshirt because, you know, we've got Damian Harris and Bo Scarborough who are going to take most of the load. B.J. Emmons, who was highly touted, who hadn't even seen the field, he's more the four-string guy. I think he was redshirted last year. And then Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is so fast. He's a guy kind of like Kenyon Drake that we could make him like a Damian Sproles where we could roll him out. And if he's in the flat, he's going to beat the corners. And he'll burn a linebacker. So, you know, I think we'll use him in a different role too. See, Harris is coming in where he's got pressure because he came in with 7,900 yards and ranked 4th all-time in California State history. And alone, his senior year, he had 2,700 yards. So he's got tons of pressure on his shoulders where Robinson doesn't. But Robinson just said, I'm going to come in and compete. And it is what it is. Saw some pretty funny stuff on Tua this week, a few stories. He was talking about he was moving 4,300 miles away from home. When he got the call from Alabama that he was offered a scholarship, him and his dad didn't believe it. Like, they literally didn't believe it. His dad had to call Alabama and try to get one of the coaches on the phone to figure out if it was real or not. Because he couldn't believe that a school this far east would look at his son, you know, that far away. and it was pretty funny. And he said he's kind of in shock and awe, and he's getting his feet wet on campus and learning things. And he said he kind of laughed at. He said everything over here is fried. All the food is fried. He said he misses Kahlua pork, but he loves mac and cheese and fried chicken. Those are his favorites. He said it's the best ever. So I'm sure he's going to eat plenty of that his time in Alabama, and good on him. I love that kind of stuff too. Send out good vibes and prayers if you're a Christian or you just want to send out good vibes. That's great. Former Alabama football player. He died. He was 57. A guy named Benny Perrin. He played for Bear Bryant in 80 and 81. Then went on to the NFL for a few years. Unfortunately, according to AL.com, he committed suicide. That's a horrible thing, and we hate it, and we feel for you, and we feel for his family. And just lift them up in prayer or send good vibes their way, either one you want. But just keep him in mind. Saw a funny story on Bill Belichick. He was talking about Julio Jones, and he didn't think he was that great of a player and didn't want to trade up for him at all back in the 2011 draft. And it was pretty funny because the Falcons traded up 5 picks to Cleveland to get to him so they could get Julio. They wanted him that bad. And it was pretty even funny because they were like, nah, we really don't want him. And they took a guy, they wanted a guy named Jonathan Baldwin. Sorry, they wanted a receiver named Jonathan Baldwin instead of Julio because Belichick said that Julio was kind of soft, he had questionable hands, he wasn't a really good route runner, he questioned his mental toughness. He said he had talked to Saban, and Saban said all good stuff, but Belichick said he just didn't like what he saw on film. I can't really understand that notion or that thought process there at all, but that's what came from Belichick. He kind of got harassed this week during press conferences that they had because they kept asking him questions about it, and he was getting very annoyed. Now, let's be honest, in all fairness to Belichick, he's done a hell of a job recruiting and getting guys to come to and free agency and drafting and that whole process. He's done a great job. I think he definitely missed the boat on Jones big time. But it is a gamble. Either way you go to trade up and get a guy. People did that with 2 quarterbacks last year, Wentz and Goff, and that's kind of up and down thing. We saw people fighting over Johnny Manziel. So it always is a gamble, but I still find it funny with the intangibles of a receiver that he saw Julio and thought, nah, he's not a great route runner. I question him. Nah, I don't want him. And it's funny because during that time, the players were night and day. Baldwin, I think, during the same time that Julio was in the league, when they were both in the league at the same time, during those 3 NFL seasons, Baldwin had 44 passes thrown to him, caught 607 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jones caught 47 passes for 686 yards and 4 touchdowns in the last 7 games. So think of that. Let me tell you that again. In 3 NFL seasons, Baldwin caught 44 passes for 607 yards and 2 touchdowns. In just the last 7 games, Julio had 47 passes for 686 yards and 4 TDs. I mean, think of that. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. But Belichick said, I respect Julio. He's a great player, and it's always tough to face him. Well, that's my time's up. Love you guys. Send me comments below, anything I can improve on, and please stick with me. Waiting for my tax return so I can get a computer to make better videos for y'all. I'm going to try to do another video Sunday night, but we'll see how it goes. It may work out that I may get one on Wednesday. But I love you guys. Have a great week, and roll Tide.